Why do you think so many... You've got Nick Clegg, former Deputy Prime Minister, infamously anti-Brexit. He was very much opposed to Brexit. Now, he's scrambling to get here to enjoy a cushy tax regime.
Well, Darren, it's great to be here on the show, and it is remarkable how these anti-Brexit Remainers, many of them in the United States, are now deciding to move to Brexit Britain. So Nick Clegg, former Deputy Prime Minister, is a perfect example of that, actually. Someone who absolutely hates Brexit, but now is eating humble pie, moving back to London. And you've got a whole series of Silicon Valley executives who are fleeing socialist California for Britain. And this says a lot, I think, about the hope and vision that Brexit Britain has on the world stage. And you are seeing, leading US entrepreneurs, including actually the head of Instagram, I believe, moving to London.
Yeah.
And they are fleeing basically a California that is sinking under the heavy weight of excessive taxation, over-regulation, huge big government, oppression basically in California, and soaring crime rates as well. I mean, California is in a serious state of disarray with rising crime, especially Los Angeles and San Francisco, widespread looting of stores, for example. And this is what happens when the far left runs, a state of nearly 40 million people, America's most populous state. But, in the last year alone, 275,000 people fled California. Many are moving to low-tax Republican states like Texas, for example. Elon Musk relocated his Tesla headquarters from California to Texas.
But someone like Gavin Newsom, you couldn't really call him far left, could you?
Well, I suppose you could, actually, yes. I mean, I do think that, California's an absolute disaster.
Would you call Joe Biden far left?
I think it's the most far-left presidency in US history. I mean, this is a big spending, socialist-style presidency, actually. It's very, very extreme. And, the House of Representatives, of course, dominated by the Democrats at the moment. That will change in November. But they just voted, along with the Senate, to approve a, $400 billion plus spending and tax package. Ironically named the Inflation Reduction Act. It does exactly the opposite, in fact. Yeah, so we are dealing with a very left-wing administration that is, quite socialist in outlook, against the fundamentals of the free market. And US Conservatives certainly are planning a big fight.
Well, speaking of that, UK Conservatives are feeling like maybe it's they're like the cat that got the cream at the prospect of Liz Truss coming in and massively slashing taxes and things like that. Do you think that is mainly why people like Nick Clegg are saying, oh, well, hang on a minute, this, I'll go back home, sounds pretty cushy now?
Yeah, I think, if you have a Conservative, government that actually fully implements Conservative policies and is driven by a low-tax, limited government agenda, which Liz Truss is promising...
You're firmly on the Truss train.
Well, I think Liz Truss would be actually an excellent Prime Minister, and she does have strong Thatcherite instincts, and she is pledging to implement a Thatcherite agenda. If she goes forward with that, that will be tremendous for Britain in the Brexit era. It can outcompete the United States. It can outcompete, definitely, of course, the European Union, which is a complete basket case, frankly. And I do think there is a positive future for the United Kingdom, provided it rolls back, the huge oppressive role of sort of big government, regulation and controls. Now that we're outside of the European Union, I think there's so much that Great Britain can do as a free, sovereign nation. And even Silicon Valley executives who sneered at Brexit recognise that fact, and they see the opportunity in a lower tax Brexit Britain.
What about, why do you think, though, that so many in the media, in the press, like to actually seek to find avenues of which they can beat Britain with? Right? Large sticks on things like when they told us that thousands of hundreds of thousands even of jobs would be lost. We've seen that as far as financial services is concerned, that hasn't been the case. It absolutely hasn't. On no measure can you make that argument. Why do you think they were so desperate to paint a vision of Britain that is one of this unique backwater, racist, swivel-eyed and all the rest of it? I mean, you even had Joe Biden coming out and saying... because of his Catholic background, his Irish ancestry, that he viewed Britain as a unique, almost, he implied, you know, that we had done so wrong, essentially, throughout the whole Brexit process, and Northern Ireland being locked, of course, within the EU single market, within the EU's regulatory restraints. And actually, I wanted to say, sling your hook, basically.
Yeah, you know, it's time for, you know, Joe Biden to back off, basically.
Yeah.
You know, Joe Biden hates Brexit. He's surrounded by advisors in the White House who intensely dislike Brexit, who sneer at it. And, you know, you do have this striking, I think, correlation between the left-wing liberal elites in the United States and the left-wing liberal elites in the European Union. They have the same mindset, actually. And they see Brexit, a hugely popular democratic move forward by Great Britain, as a threat, actually, to their worldview, to their left-wing ideology. And Brexit is all about, basically, sovereignty, self-determination, taking back control. And, you know, Joe Biden, actually, you know, sees this as a threat to his sort of supranationalist, worldview. And Joe Biden has been absolutely awful in terms of the treatment of Great Britain. It's been condescending, it's been arrogant. Liz Truss, if she becomes the Prime Minister, and highly likely to be the next Prime Minister, she needs to stand up to Joe Biden. She needs to defend British interests, and she needs to tell Joe Biden to mind his own business, frankly.
So now what would you say to those that say, well, hang on a minute, we're all getting excited about this, but actually the reality is that workers likes of Facebook are saying, yeah, we'll go there because actually they can pay cheaper wages here?
Yeah, I think that's really what's driving it here. I mean, I think that, you know, with big US tech companies moving to the UK, Google's another example of you know, a great deal of investment in Britain. They're moving to the UK because of lower tax rates than there are in parts of the United States, but also they see the opportunity with, you know, Great Britain as a sovereign nation on the world stage, actually.
So this isn't a race to the bottom. This isn't Britain on a race to the bottom.
Quite the opposite, actually. And they understand, actually, that the UK can thrive and prosper outside of the European Union. As much as they have attacked Brexit, they recognise that the UK, with lower tax rates, with more of a free market economy, and with the tremendous position of the City of London, for centuries, you know, a beacon, basically, of economic freedom. They recognise a business opportunity. It's good for them. It's good for the United Kingdom. It's going to create jobs in Great Britain. It's a win-win situation, actually. And they are fleeing, you know, the perils of socialism sweeping across, you know, big parts of the United States under the Biden presidency.